Tulsi Gabbard might know. Tulsi Gabbard represented the state of Hawaii in the Congress as well as the United States itself in the U.S. Army. She joins us now to assess what we're seeing. Tulsi Gabbard, thanks so much for coming on tonight. So here you have the government of Ukraine complaining because the president suggests that maybe we're not going to go to war next week. How distorted is our system that we can be pushed into a potentially nuclear-involved conflict by Ukraine?
Well, let's look at what's really at the heart of what is motivating the decisions being made by our leaders in this country. And what we have is, unfortunately, Democrats, Republicans, the mainstream media, the Washington elite, essentially in the pocket of the military-industrial complex. And rather than looking out for what's in the best interests of the American people, our national security, our country, they see dollar signs when they look at Ukraine. They see how they can line their pockets, how they can, look tough, how they can posture themselves in a position where they personally or politically or financially benefit, rather than actually thinking about what are the costs and consequences of these actions and who pays the price. It's the American people and, frankly, the people of Ukraine.
So my guess is that some of the people pushing for war don't actually want a real war with Russia. It would tank our economy in a second, for one thing, and they'd be held responsible. My concern is they're so inept, they so lack fine motor skills, that they're going to talk themselves into getting us into a war inadvertently. They've got a long track record of ineptitude. Are you worried about that?
I'm deeply concerned about that because that's very much the direction that we are headed. Tucker, I look back to early 2017, when then President Trump said, hey, it would be good if we got along with Russia. You remember the reaction to that. Everyone from, Democratic leaders, Republican leaders, people in the mainstream media, they said absolutely no way. There were people in Trump's own administration, warmongers like John Bolton, Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, who outright rejected it and went on their own agenda. And we're seeing the results of this now. We're seeing the result of how we have continued to have these warmongers escalating tensions, putting us in this disastrous position today, leaving us, the American people, with frankly the responsibility to stand up and say, we will not accept this. We will not be sheep allowing these warmongers in Washington to lead us down this very, very dangerous and costly path.
I'll never forget when you came out as a sitting member of Congress and said, well, maybe we shouldn't actually fight the Russians in Syria. And you were denounced as a Russian agent, also as a racist for not wanting to bomb another Middle Eastern country, which was my favorite attack ever because it was so insane. But you paid a real cost for that. I mean, they attacked you every day you served in Congress over that. So it seems like this is the red line for them. You criticize war and they won't stop in their effort to destroy you.
And all of these threads we're talking about here point back to that core motivation that sadly does not lie in serving the best interests of the American people, our security, and our country. It comes from a very selfish place of how they can get more power and get more money and who they really work for. It's not the American people.
No, it's certainly not. That is absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. Again, you paid a cost for it. I appreciate it. Tulsi Gabbard, good to see you.
Thanks.